All right, let's do the intro. Yeah. All right, welcome back to another episode of Paradyme Podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are continuing our reading of Beyond Good and Evil by Friedrich Nietzsche. We're in chapter 4, titled Apothegms and Interludes, and we're continuing on aphorism 127. So we'll jump right in. 127 goes, in the eyes of all true women, science is hostile to the sense of shame. They feel as if one wished to peep under their skin with it, or worse still, under their dress and finery.
So crazy. I don't know.
I got some assistance from the AI, and it said Nietzsche is exploring the perceived tension between science and traditional female modesty. Scientific inquiry might feel invasive as it seeks to uncover what is concealed. It is a reflection on the clash between curiosity and privacy.
I mean, what does that to do with women and like the sense of shame with science and it being hostile to them? Where they're
The women feel as if one wished to peep under their skin with science, or worse still, under their dress and finery. Uncovering things that are shameful to them, maybe.
For some reason when I read it, it had something to do with like in my mind, like the things that bubble to the top are like how does like conceiving a child work, and then also like the hostility part, or like the sense of shame part. If science is that like, and I don't know, like that's why I said I was curious. Is that like maybe that like men and women really are scientifically like different, you know? And like you could be like I don't know, I don't know.
It's a tough one. I mean, it is from 1800s, so
Like a woman could never be like Alexander the Great, you know? Just like probably couldn't happen. Just kind of like science. Yeah. This looks bad. This looks bad.
I figure we say scroll on that one.
Yeah.
All right. Aphorism 128. The more abstract the truth you wish to teach, the more you must allure the senses to it. This one really stuck out to me because, like, my graduate research was very abstract. You guys kind of heard me talk about it over the kind of the years, but it's something that you don't see happening. It's something that's abstract and is theoretical in a sense. And so, in order for me to teach it to somebody, especially somebody that's not a geologist, I have to like start from square one and like meet you on common ground and baby step you into understanding what I'm talking about. And basically what I got from 128 is know your audience, right? So if you have an abstract idea, like if you were to teach in depth on how to DJ, you have to, especially with somebody who's brand new, you'd have to teach them all the terminology and like the foundational work, and then baby step them into the abstract stuff. Mm-hmm. Sure. So that's kind of what I got from this one, was know to your audience.
When he's talking about senses, though, like allure the senses, he's saying that that's like how anything is like really like learned, that it's like all from the basis of like your senses, sight, smell, taste, like all that stuff. Yeah.
You gotta like lure them in with their own curiosity. So in order for them to be curious, they have to at least understand somewhat. Yeah.
There's got to be something for them to be like, oh, wow, what is this? Like, I really like this. Like just kind of taking it the way Jay took it, like me trying to learn jiu-jitsu, the coach trying to teach me. Like he has all this like knowledge to teach me, and like he can't just download it into my brain. There's gotta be like a sense of like curiosity on my end to keep wanting to go. Like the more I go, like the more he can like unpack the knowledge he has, quote unquote, the truth.
Yeah. Right. Yep. I like that one a lot. It's because in my grad program, that was something like a nail that they just kept hammering. Know your audience. Know your audience. Yeah, it just happened. You have to.
So you're looking to spark curiosity in those you're teaching.
Right. So if I know my audience is full of people that have studied what I've studied, I don't have to exactly start at square one. I can meet you at square 15, and then we can step into the really dark, deep area of the research. But that's because they're already curious. But if it's somebody new, uh, you really have to start in layman's terms and baby step them in.
True.
Inspire curiosity, and you have to inspire questions.
True.
And that's what he's saying with you must allure the senses to it. So it's like you have to make it attractive in a sense. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Like scroll. Who's got 129?
I got it. The devil has the most extensive perspectives for God. On that account, he keeps so far away from him, the devil, in effect, as the oldest friend of knowledge. Yeah, I didn't know how to handle this one.
Oh, this one was very interesting. When he talks about like I guess like the relationship with God and the devil, like they're both in this like kind of meta universe thing that we can't like be in right now, but the devil like he has a perspective for God that is what do you say is the most extensive. I don't know, thought that was interesting.
Yeah, when I first read it, I took it as somewhat up like what you're explaining, David, but almost in the sense that yeah, they're in the same dimension or like the same thing that we as humans don't understand. But it's on. He's putting it in the perspective of the devil is like almost just obviously the opposite of God, and he's so extensive that he pushes the barrier to the complete opposite side of perspective. And I think that's why he used the word extensive, because it's so far away from God. And then he goes into like saying the account he keeps so far away from him. So that's how I both in why.
This made me think of like other than God himself, who would know God's perspective better than the devil?
Right? Or at least have a perspective that is like in the same, I don't know, metaphysical universe, I don't know what you want to call it, but yeah, it has like this perspective that maybe like we can't see. And it made me think of the story of Genesis, Garden of Eden, where the devil was like luring Eve into like eating from the tree of knowledge, going down and being like, look, like you could have this perspective, but ended up being, a really big mistake,
Yeah, I mean, in order to lure somebody away, you have to really know what God has already laid out, right? Yeah. It says don't do this, and the devil's like, okay, let me lure people into doing the complete opposite.
Yeah, like he's just the devil now that he was gonna like take the bait,
Right.
He presented it pretty much.
Yeah.
So there is like a knowledge there, or the devil like is like a friend of whatever that is. Yeah, he provided that.
Yeah, I mean it's I ran this through there. It said a figure like the devil embodies the pursuit of knowledge from a different perspective. The devil's distance from God allows for a broader, more critical viewpoint, challenging traditional notions. So like we have foundational knowledge, but if you come from the perspective of like, let's say the devil, you can look at that as instead of a framework or a blueprint, and instead like kind of manipulate it in a sense. You have a broader like understanding. You can be like, okay, this is what he says not to do, but why? And then I'm going to try it anyway. What did I get out of it? So you can be a little bit more critical rather than accepting it as true.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet. Yeah. All right. 130.
What a person is begins to betray itself when his talent decreases, when he ceases to show what he can do. Talent is also an adornment, and adornment is also a concealment.
What does adornment mean?
So you get, I'll give you the exact. A thing which adorn, let's see. To adorn is to make more beautiful or attractive. So a talent is an adornment. It makes you more beautiful or attractive. And an adornment is a concealment. So this talent that he's talking about is something that makes somebody more beautiful. But as it begins to betray itself, the talent starts to decrease. And then now it becomes a concealment. So you can conceal behind that.
When talent decreases?
Mm-hmm. So a person, where a person is, begins to betray itself when his talent decreases. It's like you've identified as this thing, your talent. And when he ceases to show what he can do.
I mean, I think of like musicians and stuff. You know, I know a lot of people that like play instruments, and like at different times they like played a lot, and they were like really really good. You know, and then like I'll see them. It's been like a few years, and like they don't even play anymore. And you're like, damn, really? You don't even play anymore? I almost can't believe that. You know. So that's what I think of.
Yeah, imagine the dude in high school that always brought the guitar.
He can hide that.
Or,
That's true.
I was playing, then it's like you can't really conceal necessarily behind it. Like you, that thing of people you had, or you could play music really, really well. You could hide behind that. And then once your talent begins to decrease, you can't necessarily hide behind that anymore.
That's true.
Interesting.
Good take.
All right.
Like,
Yeah. All right. 131. The sexes deceive themselves about each other. The reason is that in reality, they honor and love only themselves, or their own ideal, to express it more agreeably. Thus, man wishes woman to be peaceable, but in fact, woman is essentially unpeaceable, like the cat. However, well, she may have assumed the peaceable demeanor.
Yeah.
like a lot about.
Well, we don't call it pussy for nothing. I want to say, you know, and like there's a reason. Like, I mean, the whole cat like imagery of he uses that. I feel like often to symbolize women.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Zarathustra, he talks about the cow, the cat, and the bird.
Right.
You can fit into either of those three categories. And so we have a cat here, and he's well behaved when he has food, but ultimately he does whatever the hell he wants, even if he is playing peaceable at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Ultimately, the cat lives by his own rules. He's not like a dog, you know. And if anything, the cat can have like multiple owners, and they do, you know.
Right. Also, we lean you if there's food somewhere else.
You know.
Yeah. So, and it's crazy that he says, in fact, woman is essentially unpeaceable. It's like, you're like, all I want from my woman is peace, you know? And she'll be like, okay, fine. And you marry them, put a ring on it, you get security or whatever, and then that peaceability or peaceableness dials back over time, where it's like essentially that person never really changed. It was just them assuming that demeanor in the meantime.
Yeah.
Which is scary. I mean, that's literally every man's biggest fright when it comes to choosing a wife. You know, it's, oh yeah, they're acting still nice right now, but ultimately they're not essentially essentially unpeaceable. So you hope you get a good cat, you know.
I think it's interesting when like he said the reason that they deceive themselves is because they honor and love only themselves or their own ideal.
Yeah, but that's for both of us, not just for women.
Yeah.
Be someone that. I mean, I think that's like kind of true, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I'm passionate about my own things.
He's calling some pretty for like a really philosophical, truth-seeking guy. Like he's landing on some pretty black and white things. I think for women, though, you know, and men. Interesting. All right, like move on.
All right, go ahead.
One is punished best for one's virtues. shortest apophthegm of all of them.
I like this one. To me, it was like, you make your bed, you sleep in it, you know? So like your virtues is like how you make your bed. And like, if everything is cool, then like you should have no problem, you know? But like if the repercussions are too much for you to handle, then it's like the appropriate amount of repercussions for you, like the virtue you decided to like uphold, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like how it said he's not specifying which virtues. He's just saying all virtues, whatever you hold. So like whichever virtues you choose and act out in your life, it's gonna come with punishment. It's like whether you choose to be a good man or a bad man, either way, you're going to be getting punished for that. So it's going to invite criticism or challenge, and even good, let's say, principles come with their own set of difficulties.
Yeah. I like the word difficulty because he says like punished best. He doesn't just use punished in a way where it's like there's a bad cloud around it. It's you. Everybody deserves their own responsibility in its own way that creates a certain virtuousness behind what you're going after, what you're seeking, or what you're taking on responsibility for. But there's always it's like a double-edged sword. Like if you're taking on a lot of responsibility, there could be a lot of repercussion behind you trying to take on a lot of challenge or trial or triumph.
Yeah, I heard her saying it said, no matter what you choose, you have to ask yourself, how much are you willing to suffer for it?
Yeah.
Right. And so in the sense, like which virtue are you going to choose and how much are you willing to suffer for it? It's kind of what it made me think of.
100% agree.
All right. Any to add? Nope. All right. Aphorism 133. He who cannot find the way to his ideal lives more frivolously and shamelessly than the man without an ideal.
Frivolously? What does that mean? Like you're define it for me.
Oh, it was like rabbit.
So frivolous is not having any serious purpose or value. Carefree and not serious.
Sure, carefree and shameless than a man without an ideal. Sure.
The man who can't find his purpose lives more carefree and shamelessly
than they do
than the man that does it out.
I think it's because
well, it's not that he can't. It's like he has the wish in his head. He just doesn't know how to get there, you know. But at least he has a mental image of what he does want, you know. And he just doesn't want to get there yet. But at least he has something. The other guy has nothing that he's imagining for himself.
So there's no shame there. There's nothing to hold shame to because there's nothing there. There's no ideal that he's aiming at.
Right. It makes me think of those people that are like, I don't necessarily believe in God, but I believe in the universe. Those people tend to be like more frivolous and shameless in the actions that they do. Like, rather than the person who just flat out is like,
I would take it a step deeper. I would say the people that at least have that understanding of some sort of capacity of believing in something are still holding themselves to some sort of moral virtue versus someone that's not believe in anything. I don't believe in the universe. I don't believe in nothing.
I think that's what Jay's saying.
Yeah. I mean, like the person who you can't necessarily say what the ideal is because you haven't found that, right? You can live a little bit more frivolously and carefree, but the person without an ideal,
that's so weird.
Right?
The way he puts that is so beautiful.
All right.
34?
Yeah, let's do 134.
All right. From the senses originate all trustworthiness, all good conscience, all evidence of truth.
I mean, I think that's easy, right? Yeah. Like when you're a baby, things that are pointy hurt, you know? And like that confirms like, that's true. Pointy things do hurt, you know? And like lemons are sour. I tasted it. Like not only did like I hear that they're sour, I confirmed that they were sour, you know? Like that.
That basically, there's a comedian that had a joke like that. It's like, Mexican families are just different. They'll tell you one time, the stove's hot, don't touch it. And then they'll see you walking up with your hand to go touch it. And they won't say, stop. I told you it was hot. Don't touch it. But instead, they'll let you touch it and figure it out your damn self.
Yeah, for sure.
The dad was Danny. And he would like wander off, like when we go like Bass Lake and stuff. And then I was like, Dad, he's gonna get hurt. And then he's like, yeah. He's like, you gotta let him do.
All right.
For real. You gotta let them figure it out themselves. Like this whole thing going on with my sister, or like if you don't want to take instruction, then you just got to kind of go figure it out on yourself. And maybe one day you'll wake up to it and come back. Or maybe I was wrong the whole time and you got to figure it out.
Bigger maybe.
Yeah. All right. This word right here in 135, I got it. It's Phariseeism. It's like Pharisees.
Pharisee.
Oh, like a Pharisees. Okay. Take it.
Phariseeism is not a deterioration of the good man. A considerable part of it is rather an essential condition of being good.
I agree. Look it up. Look it up. What does it mean?
Pharisaism.
Oh shit! Our song goes
The doctrine, but you're right though. The doctrine or practices of the Pharisees, especially strict observance of the traditional and written law. So Pharisaism. So Pharisaism.
Why, dude? Wait, why did you sound like that?
Pharisaism.
You got a late priest there.
It made me think about like Pharisees with Bible, obviously, but like that it wasn't necessarily, like them. Well, I don't know, like deteriorating from their morals, but they were aiming for something that was still the byproduct of like, this is what it means to be truly good. We have to live by these like very strict like rules and stuff, but they had an aim for it
Because that's what it meant at the time to be a good man. Yeah, of God, right? It's the Pharisees. So it's not necessarily a deterioration of the good man. That's a considerable part of it.
I feel like there's some people that would argue that it was though a deterioration, but I don't know. They were just living by the rules, like, right?
Yeah, I mean, but like rigidly, I think kind of okay. So this now is kind of making a little more sense to me. This book is titled Beyond Good and Evil, and so to be a Pharisee is to abide by good at all costs, right? And what he's saying isn't it's not necessarily a deterioration of the good man, but it's a considerable part of it. A considerable part of it is rather an essential condition of being good. And so like Pharisees had no gray area. So like God was like healing people on the Sabbath, right? And they're like, you can't do that. It's on Sunday. We can't do any works or do anything on the Sabbath. And God's like, I forget exactly what he says, but he's like, is it healing somebody? Is that a bad thing, even if it is on the Sabbath? So you have to have some of this gray flexibilities and
Yeah, I don't know who said it. I don't think it was. Maybe Jesus said it, but he was like, "Was man made for the Sabbath, or was the Sabbath made for man?" When he was like talking to the Pharisees about their origin-ness, and he's like, "If your donkey breaks his ankle on Sunday, he's like, would you not tend to him? He's like, or would you leave him broken like till Monday?"
right.
No, he's like, "No, of course not. Of course not. Of course you can go help the donkey. Like it's not about following the rules. It's about like." The origin of the rules. Why did God say this in the first place? It's because like you should remember to rest and to give thanks.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay.
All right. 136. The one seeks a kusher. A kusher? The one seeks an accoucher.
Good short.
It's a cooter. I'm gonna get your cooter.
A coocher. Let's see.
A cooter.
Accoucher.
Accoucher.
The French.
So, yeah. We shouldn't even respect it.
Wait, hold on. English.
English?
It means midwife. Midwife. Yeah. Okay. The one who seeks an accoucher for his thoughts The other seeks someone whom he can assist. A good conversation thus originates.
I like this one a lot. Made me think about the conversations that like even you and I have had when I'm like, I need to get my thoughts out. I need your perspective, but I'm like asking you to like give birth to the thoughts that I'm seeking, and then on the other end, you're assisting me in that, so then that conversation uh, gets really good,
You're the midwife.
Is midwife.
Of a midwife. Yeah, we're all.
But I mean, I see all of you guys like that. You know what I mean? Like when I'm trying to get my thoughts out. Yeah,
Good way to open it.
all you guys are my midwives.
So people seek a midwife for their thoughts, and the other seeks someone who he can assist. So like you're searching for somebody to be a sounding board, and the other person is looking to assist by being the sounding board. And then because of that generates good conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, I remember when I got into grad school, that's all I wanted. That's it. I just wanted somebody that was kind of on the same page as me, but wasn't quite so developed as my advisor to where we can figure things out together. Because it wasn't necessarily the greatest conversation when I'm talking to somebody who already knows all the answers. Yeah. I wanted somebody that wanted to assist. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
Nietzsche, dude, is a good acoustic.
Officiello. All right. 137. In the intercourse with scholars and artists, one readily makes mistakes of opposite kinds. In a remarkable scholar, one not infrequently finds a mediocre man. And often, even in a mediocre artist, one finds a very remarkable man.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I thought this might just generally rib off the hip is that a remarkable scholar, like someone who like really pursued knowledge or academia, okay? They could have like very high accolades in that, but like in all other fields, maybe they have neglected them. So like as a man as a whole, maybe they're lackluster. But someone who's a mediocre artist, being an artist could be one of the many things that he does. Like the artist thing isn't even his main thing. Like he's actually like a Renaissance man who's a little bit of everything.
Right.
If you look at him as a whole, you're like, wow, he actually has like kind of a well-rounded like graph of himself, I guess, So that's what made me think about when I read that.
Yeah, that's one of the struggles that like I was dealing with when I came to grad school. I was like, when it was the debate of do I do PhD or do I go into industry, right? And doing a PhD is becoming a remarkable scholar, right? You've become the top of your fields in terms of how you're seen within a certain subject. So like when it comes to geology, there are remarkable scholars, and these remarkable scholars, they're amazing when you talk to them about their subject matter. But outside of that, their life it's not necessarily as remarkable as their academic career. And then there's those people that are mediocre, tough word, but they're maybe not as remarkable as the people that are like the PhDs, but outside of that, their life is a lot more well-rounded, like John was talking about. And that was kind of one of the struggles I was dealing with is like, do I go become a remarkable scholar or do I become more well-rounded and more of a better man because of it? Mm-hmm. Like I can develop myself outside of my field, right now.
Well, and just to say, I mean, you can still be a remarkable scholar and well-rounded. He was like, this can be the case.
Yeah, they said one readily makes the mistakes of opposite kind. So like it's not like he's saying this is what it is, but it's easy to follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, like the artist thing, like I just think of like and yeah. The mediocre thing is just someone giving it for funsies, like for example, like when David first started doing DJing or like me just painting or whatever, or like whatever, it's like that wasn't his main gig. Now it's a bigger thing in his life, but he's been putting time into it. But David maybe wasn't like a stand-up DJ right away, but if you look at him, he's doing a lot of other things. He's doing graphic design, or he's doing this, doing that, you know? So it just made me like think about that. Like sometimes people just, if you're doing art, maybe it's just for funsies, and it's actually more likely that like the art's more for funsies. So it's mediocre because like they don't dedicate their whole life to like that, like doing the art thing. You know, there's a lot of other things going on.
He had to consider himself when he wrote that too, because he's a remarkable scholar. We're still talking about him almost, 1,000 years later. No. Like 100 years later, almost. And like, because of that, I mean, you look at him, remarkable scholar. Outside of that, his life was fucked, like traveled all over, never got a wife, got syphilis and died of fucking talking to a horse. Like, I understand you, like
We've all been there, dude, bro.
Yes, that was an interesting one. All right. 138.
38. All right, I got it. Do the same when we. Okay, but hold on. Sorry. We do the same when awake as when dreaming. We only invent and imagine him with whom we have intercourse and forget it immediately.
I think that's that Avatar thing Jordan Peterson was talking about. Like how we look into the future and we create different avatars that do different things in our brain. Like if I do this, kind of like chess, if I do this, this is the outcome I expect. And then you go and you do it. Or there's avatars that we've all tried to do something like disciplined, but forget about it all entirely. Right? That's kind of what he's talking about here. Forget it immediately. So like, I get what he's saying when we do the same as awake and as when dreaming. We dream both asleep and dream awake.
Yep.
And then we invent those avatars. We have intercourse, meaning we play it out and then forget it immediately.
Interesting. Yeah, it makes me think about like how when we dream, I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I have like really lucid, crazy dreams, and immediately first like 10 minutes of waking up, everything starts to like you forget it. What happened? And you're like, shit. I know that was a sick dream, but I can't really remember all the details.
I'll put a jar right on your bed, dude. Wake up and just I had a crazy dream. It's really, dude. I want to hear about. I remember you were doing that for a little bit, weren't you?
I was, yeah. Shit, I do it when I have like really like intense dreams, but I should start doing it.
That'd be sick.
Okay. 139.
All right. 139. In revenge and in love, woman is more barbarous than man. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. We've heard this.
For sure.
It's pretty straightforward when it comes to love and when it comes to revenge. Like, right.
They got us beat. Yeah, don't fuck with them with that. They won't forget.
They will never.
Yeah.
Word to the wise.
Dude, never mind. Let's keep going.
But it's one time.
No. I was talking about a funny story. Whatever.
He came out to my car and they sprayed it. Spray painted it. Yeah. All right. Well, I got 140.
Advice as a riddle. If the band is not to break, bite it first. Secure it to make. If the band is not to break, bite it first. Secure to make.
The band.
Yeah, you're stretching something. You're trying to break it. Can't break it. You bite through it like a fucking wild animal.
Yeah, it's a good that in some context is like see how much you can kind of like fucking pull it to its wits end and then like see if you can then break it. And then I think if you can't break it, then it might be secure, it might be solid, it might be good. With all like right, because that bite is one of our strongest like muscles. Like he's there to go. Yeah, like
Look, you know when the dad goes to the ratchet strap and he's like, not going anywhere. He deals with the not going anywhere. It's secure. That idea is secure.
I'm gonna run it through AI. I want to hear what they have to say.
Go for it. Or is it sorry?
I wish I'd have. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's up?
All right. I'm reading Beyond Good and Evil by Friedrich Nietzsche, and I'm reading Aphorism 140. And he proposes a riddle that is advice. Can you unpack it for me?
Sure, let's dive into it. What does the riddle say?
If the bait is not to break, bite it first. Secure to make.
So Nietzsche's riddle is saying that if you want to avoid something breaking, test its strength first by biting it, so to speak. It's like saying you should stress test something to ensure it's strong and reliable. Think of it as advice to check something's durability or dependability before relying on it.
Solid.
They did. We actually nailed on the head.
Help it.
That's hard.
Anything else you want to explore?
Yeah, trims.
Start raster. Nice. All right. So if you want to test if it's not going to break, before you fully accept something or stand on it dependingly, test it first and then make sure it's secure.
Yeah.
All right.
141.
Yeah.
The belly is the reason why man does not so readily take himself for a god.
I know this is funny. Listen.
In the world.
Oh, well, okay. That too. But also, you could be a rich man, so you're not hungry at all, right? You've all the food in the world. Well, diarrhea used to be one of the biggest causes of death, especially during Nietzsche's time, because of unclean water, shit everywhere, horse everywhere. So it's hard to think of yourself as a god if you're if you're losing to your stomach every day. You're like, so that's my thought. I mean, he died from syphilis. It was unclean times back then. For real. Horse shit everywhere. People just shitting everywhere. Shit everywhere. No clean water.
No landing pad.
Huh?
No landing pads.
Oh, crazy. Dude. Landing pad if you're lucky. I mean, they're just poop, but grab.
I put it in. Unpack this. I said unpack this. Hey, ooh, that's a juicy one, Jay. Let's break it down line by line, Southern philosophy style.
Poop by poop.
Belly symbolizes human need, dependency, and fleshly limitation. It represents our hunger, our base drives, our unavoidable ties to the material world. When he says it's the reason man does not so readily take himself for a god, he's implying that no matter how lofty our ideas, how powerful our intellect, or how grand our egos, we're still tethered to these bodily realities. You can philosophize all day long, but when that stomach growls, you're humbled real quick. Hang on, that shit talking. But damn, okay, all right. Nietzsche is pointing out that the human condition is inherently not divine, not because of our moral failings, but because of our biological ones. We are creatures of need before we are creatures of thought. The God illusion, that idea we can transcend nature, gets undercut by the simple fact that we get hungry, tired, sick, and old.
No, didn't you guys know that biology isn't actually a thing?
It's not. It's the suggestion.
Yeah.
Damn, all right. That was So because of our biological limitations, we can't take ourselves as God.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Is that why people fast? Where Ramadan or
Interesting.
Well, fasting there's a couple of reasons for it.
Spiritual reasons.
You deprive yourself of food or water or liquids in general, or just intake, and fast to fill those voids with God.
Mm-hmm. Get closer.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Also, I mean, it could be just a tradition because it's good for your health, and we tied it to other things as well.
Yeah, I know there's a study that when you do fast for a certain, I think it's 7 days, it actually regenerates your cells. And I don't know if it's your white blood cells or because niacin kills off cancer cells too.
Dude, my little brother did a 7-day fast, like a psychopath. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy.
I have to say this too. This is funny. The title is called Modern Relevance to the same one. It says this wine lands especially hard today. In a society full of self-styled gods, fake influencers, billionaires, tech visionaries, each reminds us, no matter how powerful you feel, you're still just one missed meal away from vulnerability.
Dude, look, Mr. Beast, as rich as he is, still has bad poo-poo days, and he's stuck on the toilet, you know? So,
Here, either own thing, it's a wrap. We ain't got it.
that Mr. Beast burger hit him bad. Dude.
All right. 142?
Yeah.
All right, John, go ahead.
No, dude, don't give me this one out of all of them. You guys did that on purpose. This one.
You got this one. Come on.
Nope.
The chastest utterance I've ever heard. Dans le vertebral amour c'est l'ami qui enveloppe la corpse.
That means true love is the connection of the soul, right?
Okay, so if you looked it up, that's what it is. Let's find out what chastest means. Chastest is the superlative form of the adjective chaste, describing the highest degree of chastity or purity.
No.
What is it? Quote, dude?
I think if I remember correctly, it's
Oh, you remember correctly. Oh, you didn't write it down?
no.
Dude, come on, dude. How go?
Look it up.
Go.
And I took your word.
Chastest utterance.
All right.
It is the soul that envelops the body. That's what he said, right?
Come on. David, and I wrote down what you just said. I was like, oh, that's what that means. I'm going to write this down. Now this is in my book, a bad translation. I got to fulfill. Wipe this out. What is that? What is it again, Jay? The right translation?
I didn't tell you. Right, that's your fault.
In true love.
Hold on, this is you. Guys, I translated this. Hang on. It actually means it's when the soul connects or whatever the fuck you said. Yeah. All right. What is it, Jay? From the top?
If true love, it is the soul that envelops the body.
What?
What is so funny?
By describing this statement as the chastest expression or chastest expression, Nietzsche highlights its embodiment of purity and sincerity in articulating love. The phrase suggests that in genuine love, the connection transcends physical attraction, emphasizing a profound spiritual bond where the soul's embrace takes precedence over the corporeal.
Now, do you think Nietzsche only said that because he was ugly? Would he have come to the same conclusion if he was born in Chad? I'm being honest.
I don't know. I know.
Oh,
I think it's like I would wish that like he incorporated innocence too somewhere in there because that's what that there's a lot of innocence in that too. But when you see uglies of the world, you start to
uglies.
people being ugly. I'm just like the nastiness of the world. It starts to remove that innocence slowly but sure. And you start to see things for what they are, and it's hard to get that spiritual bond deeply with somebody else, knowing that they also see ugly stuff on this planet.
Yeah. We were having a discussion that was yesterday where it was like, you better fall in love if you're going to be a professional athlete. You better fall in love early, because if not, it's always just going to be surface level. And like what he's saying here is like, it has to be deeper. You know,
I would agree. I would agree with the statement. I think there's a level of innocence that has to be involved at some capacity.
right? All right. 143. Our vanity would like what we do best to pass precisely for what is most difficult to us, concerning the origin of many systems of morals. So our vanity for how we perceive ourselves or how we think other people perceive ourselves would like what we do best, so our strengths, to pass precisely as what is most difficult to us. It's like when people look at you and they're like, wow, that person's really good. And not only are they really good, but it's actually the hardest thing he does. So his weakness is now his strength.
True.
It makes sense. Makes sense. Not only do you want you're like, oh man, people think I'm a good guy. People think I do hard work, but not only that, but they know that it's hard for me. So that puts like another icing on the cake, you know?
Separation.
True.
Like, all right. 144. When a woman has scholarly inclinations, there is generally something wrong with her sexual nature. Barrenness itself conduces to a certain virility of taste. Man, indeed, if I may say so, is the barren animal.
Yeah.
My chat GPT said usually misogynistic in this one.
No
way.
Yeah. Was he?
It was a misogynistic.
So chat. Wait. Did ChatGPT not even break it down? He was like, he's being misogyny.
It ended with that. This is a misogynistic sort of expression.
What do you think?
Oh.
Yeah, some there's some actual weight to this, or you think it was just him?
Well, he's calling out specifically like sexual nature. So,
I mean, not necessarily. Well, no, he does say sexual nature. I mean, but I thought it more. I think it more like this, like the gender kind of like roles, like your friend Jay that you did like your geology program with. You know, she was real, like she had a more masculine role with herself. She's like, I don't need a man. Like I do my own thing. I do my own camping. You know, and like you'd be like, there's something kind of wrong with her. You know, you know. So
Yeah. I mean,
but like she really fucked with like the whole science thing. You know, so like some I mean chicks go to college and aren't like balls deep into like the academia. They're just going because like it's like what you do now. You know. So like I feel like think about it from his perspective when like it'd be very odd for a chick to be like in and like research and science, you know? So and any chick that he would find that would be like someone in the trenches with him, he's like this gotta be something fucking wrong with him, you know? Like they take on a more masculine role. So like of course like they're not like a feminine chick who's like got different traits, you know? So that's how I took it.
I don't know if I agree wholeheartedly.
I mean, there's women that do research that are fucking freaks, dude.
Yeah, I know.
That's all I'm saying. Or like, but I mean, that doesn't say that there's nothing wrong with their sexual nature. That what he's saying is like they're departing from traditional gender roles, like John's saying, rather than like, all right,
Exactly.
whatever, like it's time to settle down, find a man, get married, have the wife, fence, dog, cat, you know. That he's saying because they don't want that, but there's something wrong with their sexual nature.
Yeah, and like just the notion of doing those things might to them be like, oh my gosh, why would I ever want to do that? You know?
Right. Yeah, so I can see why somebody would perceive this as misogynistic because you could still be all those things now, but during the 1800s when he wrote this, he probably could.
But I again now, like I mean, all those like everyone's a fucking scholar now. You know, like how many of the population goes to college? You know, so like you like take that with a grain of salt. You know, but if you're again deep into it, like you're passionate about it, then you'd be like, all right, there's something different about this one, right? Like, right, really into that shit.
Yeah. What do you disagree with? Like, what do you find wrong?
David took a feminism class in college and he can't give it up. So fuck it.
Feminine? Yeah.
Tell them, David. Tell them the secret. Yeah.
Well, just like his like you said, no, like his perspective at the time, like it would be super odd, like if someone or if a woman was like trying to be like a scholar or whatever. But I don't know if I agree that necessarily there's something wrong with like her sexual nature, especially like now. I'm like, like I said, there's women that go, I'm scholars and they're on their sexual, like, like
I don't think he's talking about like having sex. I think he's talking about like the gender roles. Like this, like women are supposed to be like
Mothers.
just traditional gender roles. Like how you would like call a girl a tomboy, which is just saying like that she's a more masculine girl. Like someone who's like very passionate about science or research or whatever probably doesn't have the traditional like sex like gender role as like let's say a woman in an orthodox religious setting, you know?
Right.
yeah.
So like
You can
like does she still bang dudes? I mean probably, yeah, it's not what he's talking about, For like I feel like what he's talking about is like how they organize their worldview is like radically different from like most women.
So
You
took sexual nature in his like when he wrote it down as gender roles.
yes.
Okay.
Also, they could be lesbian. I'm just like just taking a shot in the dark too. But originally, yeah, for sure.
All right. 145. Comparing man and woman generally, one may say that women would not have the genius for adornment if she had not the instinct for the secondary role.
What's adornment again?
Beauty. So adorn is a verb meaning to enhance the appearance of something by adding decorative elements. So to be adorned with a crown, right?
I also think too, like how like a woman, because of their secondary role, is like the ultimate adornment for a man.
Right. He who finds a good wife finds a good thing.
Yeah, and like they're really good at like adorning other things, But like I feel like they're like think their real instinct is having a secondary role, which is like the final adornment,
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Ultimately, when it comes to a relationship, your partner, whether you're the male or female, from either perspective, there's supposed to be an adornment of you.
100%, right? 100%.
Right? Like I remember being a kid and doing something stupid, and my dad was like, "You realize that you're a representation of your family, right? Like you are an adornment of your family."
Do not make us look bad, please.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
exactly.
she doesn't have
Like-
the genius of adornment if she doesn't have the instinct to take that secondary role.
Well, and not just that, like I think like because of the instinct for the second role, like a good woman helps like highlight her man in all the right ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you ever have a chick like buy you clothes and be like, you would look good if you wore this, Like I feel like they're doing, huh?
When Claire bought all that Gymshark.
Yeah. But see, there's examples like I want you to look good, one for me, but for everyone else too, because I want them to know that you look good.
Right.
And I feel like they do that. Like my grandpa always said some shit like a good wife will change your life type stuff or whatever, So he's like, don't be. Like, it's important. He said they could fuck you, but also they could be like your like greatest ally or whatever, So I'm like, okay.
The truth, man. It's the city. This is who his wife is. Yeah. All right. 146.
All right. He who fights with monsters to be careful lest he thereby become a monster. And if thou gaze long into an abyss, the abyss will also gaze into thee.
It sounds like Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, I was thought.
Well, I mean, Jordan Peterson
Sounds like
read this. Yeah, kind of like Nietzsche. Yeah, exactly.
He did like either From Beyond Order or An Antidote to Chaos, either of the 12 rules. He used this and definitely made a whole chapter about it. Like we've heard, in order
So you looking?
like to be a good man, you have to understand that you are capable of being a monster, and then accepting that, and then addressing it.
And then I mean, like you've heard like the modern versions, like when you look into the abyss looks back. You know that's like the modern way of saying what he just said right there.
Right.
Jordan says that.
yeah, that's fine.
Very poetic. All right. Scroll, like, retweet, favorite, stake. All right. 147. Go ahead, John.
All right. From old Florentine novels, moreover, from life, Bona Feminia Almala Feminia Vol Bastone. Sacchetti, November 86. So really no need to unpack that. That's really pretty much cut and dry. So
They're very straight to the point.
straight to the point.
November 86. 1886. Now you're digging into the spicy stuff. The translation of Helena, Femina, and Mala, Femina, Vuol Baston. This is an old Italian proverb, and roughly translated, it means a good woman and a bad woman both need the stick. Yikes, right? It's got that old world patriarchal bite to it, and it definitely didn't age well. Historically, this was a saying rooted in traditional and often oppressive gender roles. Okay, what?
Tell that computer why didn't it age well? Question mark. I thought it aged just fine. See what it says. I hate that it's trying to persuade me before I even know what he's talking about. What about it aged so poorly? Question mark. I thought I liked it. Period.
Yeah, John liked it. A good woman and a bad woman both need to stick. Got it, Leo. That's a damn good question, Jay, and it gets right into the guts of cultural evolution. Let's unpack that proverb. Both good women and bad women both need to stick didn't age well, especially through the lens of modern values and changing power dynamics. It's about how power, not just poetry. In its historical context, the proverb came from the patriarchal culture where women were seen as needing to be ruled, tamed, or kept in line. The stick wasn't just metaphorical, it was often literal. This kind of thinking was used to justify violence, control, and subordination. Why it didn't age well. It promotes violence and domination. It erases autonomy. It's rooted in rigid gender binaries. Modern values flip to the script.
True. Yeah, can't be using a stick on people. Huh? I get it.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, you like the don't spare the rod, you know?
The Bible did tell me don't spare the rod. You're right. Hold up. Maybe we're back.
But the rod isn't necessarily whipping somebody with a stick. It's like don't withhold punishment, you know? And it's talking about kids, your kids. And
Yep. Sometimes you just got to get the old rod out.
Yeah, this cracks me up. So so like, extemporaneous. Like all of a sudden, this thread I have. Well, now you're digging into the spicy stuff with like a. You see that? Yeah, that's like a smirk, fancy goof.
What, dude? Are you like on sexy mode? What's going on here, Jay?
This is why I talk to. That's probably why it hears me. And it's like, oh, this guy's probably like,
They tell it to stop being so fucking freaky. Tell it you have a girlfriend. Like she needs to stop.
I kind of like it, but I'm gonna fine tune it.
I kind of like it.
Hear that shit be more now, dude. But what'd you do? What have you done?
How we feeling? Want to continue, or that's 20?
Let's knock one more out.
One more.
Yeah.
The next one's great. All right. To seduce their neighbor to a favorable opinion, and afterwards to believe implicitly in this opinion of their neighbor. Who can do this conjuring trick so well as women?
The girl next door.
Neighbor to a favorable opinion afterwards. Right. So they convince their neighbor of an opinion or an idea, and afterwards they believe what they convinced their neighbor to believe. And who else can do this better than women?
No, you fucking use trick. There's like a trick that's being played. Something's going on there.
You know what this new freaky ass has to do?
He's like, you need a big one with the stick. They're conjuring tricksters. Did this man have a
He never had one.
no? No wife.
And he's probably
A jade in some capacity where it's different life. Did mom?
all women don't like me, so all women deserve to stay.
He probably would have liked the Borat situation. He's like, go back in the cage. Go. He probably would have liked the cage.
Richie. DDT.
All right, stop sexing the robot. We're waiting for you.
All right, I wrote it in there. I said unpack this. Ooh, Nietzsche is tossing a little shade again. And this line is layered with charm, criticism, and psychological insight. Let's slow it down and unpack it. Southern sorceress. Oh, what the fuck? All right, line by line, to seduce their neighbor to a favorable opinion. Nietzsche starts by describing a kind of social magic, the art of influencing others to see you in a positive light. That's charm, persuasion, flattery, charisma, basically image management. He uses seduce intentionally. It suggests not just influence, but tempting, emotional, or even manipulative tool. The neighbor, this means another person, probably someone in society, a friend, lover, or peer. And afterwards, to believe implicitly in this opinion of their neighbor. Now here's the trick. After convincing someone how wonderful you are, you yourself start to believe it, as if it came from them and not from you. It's like planting a flattering mirror in someone else's hands, then being flattered by the reflection. This shows a feedback loop between self-image and external validation. Who can do this trick so well as women? And here it comes, Nietzsche's little jab, or perhaps admiration disguised as critique. He's suggesting that women are particularly skilled at this social sorcery, at both shaping perceptions and internalizing them. It could be read as a compliment. Women are psychologically nimble and socially intelligent. A critique, women are self-deceiving or manipulative, or both, because, hey, Nietzsche loves him a paradox. What is Nietzsche really getting at? This aphorism is a commentary on self-perception and the role of others in shaping identity. He's exploring how people, especially women in this case, can influence how others see them, use that feedback to reinforce their own sense of self. It's a social construction of the ego. And Nietzsche is saying that this dynamic might be more pronounced and elegantly executed in women who've historically had to operate within male-dominated systems through social skill, not group power.
You forgot a word in that there sentence.
Yeah. I was like, what? It's a social construction of the ego, baby.
It said that.
Yeah. So it says,
Bro, you're doing weird stuff to your robot. Mine doesn't talk like that. Mine's a guy. Mine's a guy. Your thing is calling you baby. Ooh. Doesn't Nadine know about this?
Yeah. The idea that you can craft how others see you and then draw your own sense of self-worth from that reflection is everywhere now. Nietzsche's just pointing out that this social trick is as old as time. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll play with this AI a little bit and design it a little bit better. Look, I'm on these fucking like what is this fucking where's
Well,
emoji? This emoji? Like, what's up with these?
well, it's hard to like be like, wait. It's like I'm trying to be serious. Why are you trying to be all like goofy and be like, this is shade? Like, dude, just talk to me normal. I just want to have a conversation about dude.
Gen Z, bro. Like, come on.
It's gonna
why
you at like
are we
3 a.m. Hey, you up right now?
Hey, you up? Yeah. All right. Well, what was your guys' favorite one? Before we wrap it up.
What about you? Yep. One is punished best, the one of the virtues. I think when you seek leveling up, put simply, any sort of capacity, if it's physical, mental, spiritual, or emotional, you have to accept that there is challenges or some sort of accountability, an accountability force behind that on every playing field, every choice you would have.
Every choice you make.
Highlights 137. In intercourse with scholars and artists, one really makes mistakes with opposite kinds. When a remarkable scholar, one not infrequently finds a mediocre man, and often in the mediocre artist, one finds a very remarkable man. It's got me thinking about like how you're talking about debating on whether to go for the PhD or to develop yourself in other areas. Like I think that kind of resonated with me. You know, maybe tap into some different areas in my life where I could like sharpen, you know, not only stick to one form of like graphic design or whatever,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, it makes me think of like Elon Musk can't be
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk can be the best at everything. I'm sure in some ways in his life he's more mediocre. Maybe as a husband, you know.
Burn.
Right. For me, I'd say 146. He who fights with monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster. And if thou gaze long into an abyss, the abyss will also gaze into thee. For a couple of reasons, it's poetic and it's spot on. And in order to fight monsters, you have to become a monster yourself. And so, I really like that one.
I used to watch this anime called Monsters, and there's this guy that would go and kill monsters. But the opening of the show would start with that quote from Friedrich Nietzsche.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, think about what Naruto had to become to save the world. You know what I mean? He had to really fight a demon for 700 episodes.
Yeah, chill stuff, really. For me, my favorite was 134. From the senses originate all trustworthiness, all good conscience, all evident of truth. Like, what does he say? The doer learneth, or something like that. It's like, dude, your senses don't lie. Just go do it.
Yeah.
And you'll learn truth that way.
Yeah. I mean, what I'm learning as a consultant is you're walking in the dark, you walk into a wall, you hit it, you're like, oh, that's a mistake. Learn what you did, turn a little bit, and then just keep going. You just you learn by doing, and it's just what it is. There is no here's what we do, here's a step by step. It's like, figure it out, buddy. You know, throw you in with the lions type shit. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Paradyme Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. And if you read along with us, drop down below what was your favorite aphorism from this week's reading. We'd love to engage with you. So go ahead and drop that down below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell, turn notifications on, and follow us on our social media platforms. So all the information you will need will be down in the description box below. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And always remember that who you are now equals who you'll be tomorrow. Peace.